Crime scene cleaning could be anything from murders
That would be brain matter right there.
to break-ins.
It's obviously been a very violent attack.
You genuinely never know what you're going to walk into.
Major crime leaves a trail of devastation.
There's blood in the hallway, the tile, just blood everywhere.
On walls,
There's a lot of blood there.
in cars,
Someone's been attacked with a samurai on the passenger side.
soaking into carpets.
There's maggots all over this entire carpet.
Once the police have gathered the evidence, they call in the crime scene cleaners.
I haven't seen anything like this before.
Highly trained professionals in the UK and United States who clean up dangerous hazards.
The worst case scenario is the lithium and gasoline, they blow up.
Keeping the public safe.
Tenement has booby-trapped the property with needles and syringes.
The cat could have fed on the corpse.
There's the body mark right there on the bed.
How did this happen? What happened? Was they attacked?
In this series,
Testing 1, 2, 3.
body cams take us beyond the police tape into the heart of the tragedy.
Ready?
He was so badly decomposed that I would not be able to recognise him, even if he was my brother.
While leading crime experts dissect each scene.
Crime scenes can actually be an insight into the perpetrator's behaviour.
We get projected blood stain patterns when we have a breach to the circulatory system.
And try to piece together what happened.
There's been a frenzied attack within that building.
It has sufficient malice aforethought to be considered murder.
Crime scene cleaning is more than just physical labour. It involves exposure to scenes most people never witness. Few know that better than Mark Caney, a specialist with 20 years' experience in biohazard and trauma cleanup.
In my time, I've cleaned about 40 all in all of real horrible crime scenes. You go into situations and it's like a horror scene, and then I clean up and it looks like it never happened, and I'm quite proud of that. You need the forensic guys, you need the police, but then afterwards you need us guys.
Mark is on his way to a gory cleanup in a residential flat on the outskirts of town.
Today we're off to Reading to do an unattended death. They believe the gentleman's been in there for about a year, so smells is going to be a problem. Police are investigating at the moment, working out if there's anything untoward.
An unattended death poses many problems for the investigators. When a body is found deceased at home without the presence of anyone else, it's really important to determine whether that death has occurred naturally, due to an accident, or from the hands of someone else, so it's a homicide.
With death scenes, I always seem to be quite nervous on the way there, even though I've done it time and time again. I think it's just a natural reaction. I like to be specialised, and I've got dyslexia, and to be able to do the job and do it so well, it makes you quite sort of proud and confident, where I'm not always that confident with stuff, but I can be with specialised cleaning. The worst part about being a crime scene cleaner, I think, is what you've got to actually blank out, and that's the demise of other people, what they might have went through before their demise. I've also done a dog attack on a child. That was got to be definitely the worst one I've had to deal with. It's the only child attack I've had to deal with. It was a newborn, the dog. He just got frustrated and attacked the baby. The best thing to do that I always find is never look at people's pictures. You don't look up around the walls, you just situate on where you've got to clean. In that situation, you don't want to see a picture of the baby. Come home not feeling so great that day.
Today, Mark will be working with fellow crime scene cleaner Ben Bridges.
First heard about the job last night. I've never faced a body decomposing for a year. There's already a company out there that's already refused to do the job. And now we've turned up, and I'm now thinking, oh, God, like, what am I literally going to be faced with upstairs?
The victim's brother, Kevin, hands over the keys to the property. He's still trying to make sense of what's happened.
I called Rob's name, but didn't hear anything, and then went upstairs, and there was this terrible smell. I peered open the door to the main room and saw his hands, which were skeletal and grey-black. And at that point, I suddenly realised that I was looking at a dead hand and was shocked and bolted back downstairs.
With the police investigation into the death potentially taking months, the scene is handed to the cleaners. First, they must assess the scale of the job ahead.
If your heart goes a little bit, and if you aren't getting sweaty palms, I don't think it'd be normal.
Right, entrance.
You've got to go into every crime scene with an open mind. It can be natural causes all the way up to a murder.
First thing that obviously hits you when you go up the stairs is the smell. It's like a real thick, pungent, horrible. It's one of the worst smells I've ever smelled, and you never, ever forget it. There we go.
Yeah, it's a definitely good smell.
Yeah, that does smell. Walked into the living room, see a armchair saturated in bodily fluids, as well as the floor.
The longer a body decomposes, the more complex the investigation becomes.
You're starting with guesswork, trying to piece together what has happened. It might be that he's been murdered and not discovered for many, many months, and all the evidence will have disintegrated.
Subtle injuries might disappear, so a small bruise, whether or not there has been a struggle, I may not be able to see that. The decomposition is a real challenge when investigating a death.
It looks like he'd been in there a while. The smell's there quite strong. It's becoming quite overpowering. It smells quite bad.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit to do, especially with the flooring. There's quite a bit of remnants of the gentleman in the flooring.
There's no obvious sign of forced entry or any evidence of a break-in. The perimeter of the house is all secure, the doors and the windows, but you don't know who has got a key. Someone could have let themselves in and let themselves out, and it's still a secure house. So you've still got to keep that open mind.
Put your hands up! 0215 will to a gunpoint. He's running again. We hit.
Gun violence in the US is out of control.
0215, shot fired.
There are more guns than people, and nearly 50,000 lives lost every year.
Shot fired from deep inside the house.
There are hundreds of mass shootings every day. We still have tens of thousands of homicides every decade.
Additional gunfire at that.
In Arizona, firearms are a leading cause of death.
Everybody get down, everybody get down, everybody get down. Everybody get down.
Easy access and permissive gun laws fuel the escalating crisis.
Innocent people not involved become victims of gun crime. It's very alarming.
We're taking shots from the west.
Gun violence is a very, very significant problem in America.
Your hands up!
You really can just be sitting, minding your own business, and be shot. Your life can end just at any moment.
On duty for Tact 48 is 34-year-old crime scene cleaner Taylor Stevens.
You ready?
Today, she's joined by her 18-year-old niece, Shyla Davis.
Now we're going to a shooting in the park.
Okay. This is my very first job that I've had. I've been doing it for like 3 to 4 months.
Did he show you how bad it was? No, we won't know until we get there.
This is my first shooting. We don't know how bad the situation is, but there could be a lot of blood.
Taylor and Shyla are heading to the scene of a violent attack in the heart of a college town, where a gunman opened fire in a crowded park just steps from Arizona State University.
Unfortunately, shootings in the crowds in the United States is all too common.
The shooter is on the run, and the police are urgently investigating.
You nervous?
Kinda.
Don't be nervous.
It's the first one, so we'll see.
3 people have been shot. It's a tough assignment for Shyla.
She's new into the market of working, and I decided to try to bring her along and teach her the ropes.
Well, police is still on the scene.
They usually are. Usually they're on scene, and then with this being a shooting, I'm probably gonna ask them, could they stay, just to be on the safe side, because I don't want anybody, you know, retaliating or coming back to the scene.
Right.
It's just 15 hours since the attack. The cleaners must sanitize the site, while a police manhunt is underway.
Typically, investigations involving shootings are going to be at the top of the priority list. Not only is this a heinous and violent crime, but also suspects still being on the loose could pose a threat to others in the community.
All right, are you ready?
Yep.
Taylor and Shyla arrive to a police presence, marking the gravity of the unfolding shooting investigation.
This appears to be in a wide open area. We would be looking around to see if there's any witnesses. As people return, it could be possible that these people may be involved in the incident and may be hostile.
Gonna keep your hoodie on, you might get hot.
In the back of their van, the cleaners have access to specialist tools and equipment.
It's important to do this inside because we don't want bystanders, random, you know, people outside to, they kind of get like scared, intimidated. They don't know what we're doing, so we tend to just keep it in here to be more discreet, as discreet as possible.
Okay.
At least. Okay.
Now suited in protective clothing,
Looks like there's a trail over here. Somebody was probably running off.
Taylor approaches the scene to assess what they're dealing with.
This is a pretty bloody scene. We've got a pretty large stain of blood in the grass, so we know that somebody is bleeding very quickly and they're losing a lot of blood. There's also lots of indication of movement, so we've got bloody shoe prints. So there's a lot of moving parts to this case.
The gunman, now on the run, fired 10 rounds into a crowd at close range. 3 people were shot. 2 of them are fighting for their lives.
We don't know if this person walked up on the group with the intent to do either a single person or the whole group in harm. But if the victim dies at the hospital, it becomes a homicide. If they're willing to shoot into a group of people, if they're willing to kill somebody, they're going to be willing to do whatever is necessary to get away.
Flooring's all going to have to come off, and the flooring depends how far the body fluids.
Yeah, I was going to say the
will
flooring.
have travelled right up.
You can sort of take apart, can't you?
Yeah.
In Reading, crime scene cleaners Mark Caney and Ben Bridges are dealing with the aftermath of a decomposing dead body, where the cause of death is unclear.
So what do you reckon the plan would be?
I would plan to be get as much as that into bags.
Yeah, bags.
And then I think cut it up.
Yeah.
He'd been there for 12 months, so the chair itself is going to have to be took apart, which is going to be fun because of what's on it.
And then it's just the floor in here, this section here.
Yeah.
Followed by a deep clean.
The actual floorings needs to be taken out. Once I start using the machinery, it will probably amplify the actual smell, which is not going to be fun because it's already quite overpowering. Yeah, this is going to be a very tricky job.
When decomposition occurs, the gases start pushing fluids out of the nose and the mouth, and that can contaminate the area around.
Okay. Let's go and get suited.
You've got to check for everything. It could look total natural causes, but it could end up being murder.
There seems to be a distance between the pool of fluid that's on the floor to where the chair is. So the chair must have been moved. It's important for me to understand, well, who's moved that chair?
With questions around what had happened, the police launched an investigation.
Initially, they wanted me to identify the body, but they actually realised that he was so badly decomposed that I would not be able to recognise him. I think I was in shock. It was like a scene from a horror movie, except it was reality.
For him to walk in on the scene, to see his brother not just dead, but in this state of decomposition, it must have been horrific and really quite traumatic.
The coroner's office told me that it was going to an autopsy because they couldn't make a diagnosis of cause of death. It's still open, and at this stage, we don't know.
With suspicion mounting, police need to work out a timeline.
My brain was sort of trying to put together exactly how this could have occurred. And my thoughts were, maybe he's been dead for 12 months because I've been to the house a year ago and we'd seen him.
Police must corroborate Kevin's theory that the body had been dead a year.
We're trying to figure out a timeline as to Rob's passing, and you know, any paperwork that is available will give us, because I've got unopened mail, I've got open mail, and then upstairs there'll be paperwork and we can piece together something.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no problem.
If you've got a dead body found within a flat, it's about trying to establish how long that person's actually been there. Now, there's various things within the scene which would help you, such as food in the fridge and sell-by dates, or post that's come through the letterbox and when was the last post opened.
Suited up in full protective clothing, Mark and Ben must gather paperwork before tackling the dangerous biohazard.
Kevin wanted the paperwork. All bagged it.
My idea was to grab all the mail and figure out from the mail that was opened and unopened exactly the time of death.
The brother was interested in the letters to sort of see when the last letter was opened, to see how long his brother had been there and passed away.
Do you think that's it for the paperwork, or...?
The paperwork, as we can see at the minute.
Yes.
Mark's having a look all around the kitchen.
Nice.
But I've taken the stuff, obviously, on the, I think, like the little table.
Okay.
But obviously where he was sitting.
Yeah.
What we'll do, just for now, but concentrate on, obviously, that contaminated area.
Okay.
Obviously, the sofa.
Yeah.
But we don't know until, obviously, we go underneath the flooring. So it may well have gone right underneath.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, thanks for the update.
No problem.
Yeah.
As Kevin sifts through the mail, hoping to clarify when his brother may have died, Mark and Ben get to work.
At this scene, the most pressing biohazard is the body fluid. The body fluid is a rich mixture of lots of bacteria, and one of the most significant bacteria is Clostridium. Clostridium causes botulism. So that's a really dangerous bacteria to be exposed to.
Botulism is a deadly toxin found in decomposing bodies, causing paralysis and potentially death.
Being in a chair with lots of fabrics, it absorbs an awful lot. So you can lose an entire blood volume in there and it not be that obvious.
A body can lose up to 60% of its original mass during decomposition.
Getting rid of all the fabric. Contaminated bits of fabric.
They must dismantle the chair where the body was found.
You can't take your eye off the ball, just go straight at it and start taking the chair apart. Any of the pathogens that's within the blood has to be kept away from you, so it's got to be done very, very slowly.
We should take this out in a minute. Get this on the van.
Dangerous biohazard is cleared from the property for incineration, while the rest of the chair can safely be disposed of in landfill.
Every time we do a crime scene or a trauma, put anything on the back of the van, it's all got to be cleaned out, disinfectant, before we go anywhere else.
Meanwhile, Kevin has examined the letters retrieved from his brother's flat and has made a discovery.
Bizarrely, there were some unopened letters which were as recent as August 2024. Now, of course, he was discovered late October 2024, but his body was in such a state of decomposition that he may have died many months ago. There is, in my mind, some question as to why there were documents that were opened when he may have been dead before then.
Open mail found within the house could indicate that someone's been in after he's died, or have they broke in and done something to this man in a robbery, a burglary. Of course, it could be that the timeline of events is wrong. It's like a jigsaw with a lot of pieces missing, and you're trying to find those missing pieces.
Okay, so there's a spot on the grass as well as on the sidewalk. And we are going to start with the grass first.
In Phoenix, Arizona, crime scene cleaners Taylor Stevens and Shyla Davis are starting to clean the aftermath of a shooting where a gunman opened fire into a crowd.
When somebody fires a gun, they will tend to shoot until the gun runs dry.
The shooter remains at large, and the police have launched a full-scale manhunt.
Was the shooter known to a single person in there? Was the group targeted?
3 people were shot. 2 of them are critically injured and fighting for their lives.
We're gonna go down and work our way up the sidewalk, if it makes sense. Okay.
Taylor and Shyla start working on the large patch of blood on the grass.
Just dig down, go straight in with the corner.
In a case like this, where you know you have multiple bleeding individuals, we would need to collect samples of all areas of blood. We are reconstructing the crime scene. We want to know who was where and what the series of events is.
There's a full cigarette, bloody. Looks like somebody was eating a bag of chips over there. Didn't even get to finish. There was chips and a cigarette on scene. The cigarette was covered in blood. I assumed that somebody was eating, maybe the other one was smoking a cigarette when the altercation happened.
It's an odd snapshot into a perfectly normal moment in your life where you're just minding your own business, having a snack, and then the next moment, you're fighting for your life.
Take a break. It's a little hot out there.
Yeah, it is.
How you feeling?
I think it's good. I feel like it would be worse if the people were actually there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened.
Yeah.
What do you think happened?
They probably survived. I don't know.
A gunshot to the neck at close range has left 1 victim on life support, while another, shot multiple times, including in the spine, has a grim prognosis and is feared to be brain dead.
We see this path through the body where the bullet has gone in and torn all of those tissues that it's hitting. And then we also have this very small wound track that for a moment kind of explodes up into this really big wound cavity, and then it collapses down on itself. When that happens, there can be all sorts of damage, and you can experience massive bleeding. It's going to be very, very dangerous and potentially deadly.
Hollywood tends to make us think that this person is going to fly backwards onto their back, and that's not the case at all. Many, many cases, you're still able to move, still able to walk. Depending on where you're shot, you can talk, yell, run, walk away. It looks like one person probably dropped where they were initially injured. Another person was definitely running away from the area.
So we've already pulled up the grass. We've got all the gravel, all that out. Now we should start with the edge of the curb. And as I'm spraying and scrubbing, you make sure that there's nothing, absolutely nothing left behind. You ready?
Yep.
Get back into it. And put your mask on. We get our gloves back on. And finish this out.
On the sidewalk, this likely could have been a starting point. It does suggest that after the shots were administered and bleeding was taking place, there was significant movement by the bleeding individuals, both in the form of drip trails and cast off, as well as the footwear impressions in blood.
With the suspect now on the run, investigators are hunting for evidence to help identify and locate the gunman.
One of the things that I'm going to zero in on right away at this case are those footwear impressions. So we see shoe prints in blood. That's a really good clue.
We can determine based off the tread, the brand and the size of that boot, but then we'd also be looking for individual characteristics that may help us if we were to find that pair of boots that we could say that pair of boots made those prints to exclusion of all others.
As the cleaners continue their work, the police investigation steps up.
Put your hands up now!
A 37-year-old gunman has been arrested for the shooting.
When we do investigations, there can be numerous types of leads, either person, witness, physical evidence.
It's a scavenger hunt where you don't know what you're looking for until you find it.
Officers are now compiling a case to link him to the attack.
When we get a suspect in custody, that is not the end of the case. We still have a considerable amount of follow-up to do.
Didn't it just happen? That blood is fresh. It's still wet in the grass, too, like.
In Phoenix, Arizona, crime scene cleaners Taylor Stevens and Shyla Davis are sanitizing the aftermath of a shooting that happened in a public park just 15 hours ago. The victims remain in a critical condition, one on life support, another with a grim prognosis.
A little dots. Whatever you see, spray it and grab another scrubber and wipe it up, okay?
Evidence, including bloody footprints and DNA, has led to the arrest of a 37-year-old man.
When you're done with that, I want you to start from that cone, and I want you to look at every inch from that square down to where I am and make sure there's no little drops, okay?
Police believe it was a targeted attack.
Stranger-on-stranger crime, especially gun crimes, is not very common. The vast majority are people that are known to each other.
Anytime we have a suspect that is known to victims, there typically is a reason why. So that could relate to tensions for personal reasons, it could be over money or drugs.
The A is more so to get off the dirt and grime. We use chemical A because it's an enzyme and it removes any dirt, anything that sticks and that's hard to get up, it removes it. That's B. It's a disinfectant. Right here. B is like a disinfectant afterwards. We kind of do A and then B right after, maybe about 30 seconds in between.
Powerful cleaning agents break down organic matter and lift stains from porous surfaces.
With concrete, if you dab and press too, it pulls it all up a little harder, better than scrubbing.
Bloodstaining on concrete can be very difficult to clean due to the porous nature. So although it appears clean on the surface, blood can soak down into the concrete. And if you were to break that concrete up, you likely would see a much larger stain below the surface than you would see on top. So it's very important to continue cleaning even after it's visually gone.
Yeah, I want you to just keep looking over everything that's drying too, making sure there's no other spots. We have to take our time and thoroughly look over, do double checks, sometimes triple checks. Make sure you put your binoculars on. It's very important to make sure that every drop of blood is cleaned up because it could also be harmful to other people. After we're finished, the concrete probably looks cleaner than it was when we arrived originally. All right. That was a lot, huh? Digging in the holes. Yep. I'm glad we had those little scrapers. We're able to clean up, and even through other people's hard times, we're able to remove that memory, not remove it from their brain, but we can remove the mess where it did happen to where they don't have to see that ever again.
For it being my first time, it wasn't too bad.
No? Didn't make you nervous?
Nah, and most of the time I think this stuff is pretty gross, but I don't mind having my hands dirty because I have gloves on.
So you think you can do this?
Yeah.
Yeah? On your own, though, if I'm not here to help you and walk you through it?
Yeah, once I start getting the hang of it, yeah.
I think you got it. I think you can do it.
this contaminated area.
The person who's passed away, they've been there for approximately a year, so we've been told, which is quite a long time. Because the longest I've done is like 6 months.
In Reading, crime scene cleaners Mark Caney and Ben Bridges are cleaning a property where a badly decomposing body was found.
We're going upstairs to start removing all the flooring.
Kevin believes his brother was dead for a year, but opened mail suggests someone's been inside since and raises unsettling questions about what really happened.
You're sort of piecing it together that there's third-party involvement and foul play. You'd be looking again at fingerprinting the envelopes, fingerprinting the letters, and looking for DNA.
As the investigation continues, Mark and Ben begin cutting up the flooring.
There seems to be a disparity that this body could have been decomposing for up to 12 months versus what the brother has discovered. So obviously that's thrown a bit of a spanner in the works.
I'm right over there, right?
It could just be that the timelines don't align, or it could be somebody else. It could be maybe an intruder coming from the outside.
You can see, all contaminated. Place them in the black bag first because it's a lot thicker. And then they'll be transferred.
As Mark and Ben lift the contaminated floorboards, they expose the damage left behind by decomposition, a process that begins deep within the body itself.
Your intestines are full of bacteria, and when you're alive, they're your friendly bacteria, but when you die, they become a bit more unfriendly and they start digesting you. As the bacteria start breaking down more and more of the tissues, the cells and the tissues of the body start turning into a liquid.
As you can see the stainage.
It's gone up here, isn't it?
Yeah, the body fluids.
There's a number of reasons why fluid starts to leak from the body. Firstly, it's the gases. The gases are building up inside the stomach and inside the abdomen because the bacteria are creating methane gas, essentially. Bodies don't explode, and that's a big fallacy. The gases will push out the liquids up through the nose and the mouth, which we call purging.
Obviously here is like the light, then you've got the darker colours where the fluids are, and it's light over here, but we're going to have to go back a lot further.
This fatty substance, which is now leaking from the body, is really difficult to clean. It's very penetrative, so the oil will soak into the floor. It's very difficult to remove that.
I'm going to have to take this one out now, but the underlay is a perfect place for it to soak into. It just sort of gets down through no matter what. But this is a brilliant place to stop because it can be sanitised.
Do you know what, though, Mark? I don't reckon he was dead a year.
The timeline of this decomposition has unanswered questions.
There's no signs of maggots or flies or...
There's a few in your chair, but not...
yeah, nothing major, no. Because normally, like that sort of length of time, it's normally rife.
Trying to establish a specific time of death, I would say virtually impossible. You can bring it down to sort of possibly to months. Obviously, bodies decompose not at a uniform rate.
The scene itself does not indicate that that person has been lying there for up to a year deceased. It would suggest he's been there for weeks, maybe a month.
Los Angeles, America's city of dreams, and one of its most violent.
Face the wall!
Downtown LA, the heart of the city, where homicide and violence are widespread.
1, 2 pursuit, 415-pound knife. Drop the knife!
Low-income housing blocks rife with poverty and addiction. starkly contrast with the glitz of Hollywood.
He's got a gun to someone's head. What?
Danger is constant and death is never far away. Crime scene cleaning company 911 BioClean is run by Victor Robles.
Let's go load it. We'll come back for the solutions right now.
Today, Victor's been called out to a public housing complex in a tough part of town.
We were notified about someone has been deceased. There's a lot of blood saturation in the unit, compromising the floor. We anticipate to be in for a big job. We have everything. Oh, we're gonna go to downtown LA. We don't know what happened. We could have been a crime. The PD will determine that. Downtown LA, there's a lot of buildings that low-income individuals that live in these units. A lot of crazy stuff happens in these buildings. There's a lot of crime, a lot of people under the influence of drugs, alcohol. So it's very typical to do cleanups here and for them to be crime scenes.
All right, guys, we're gonna get our equipment ready.
For this job, Victor's using his most experienced cleaners.
The guys are Mexican-American, Latinos, very hardworking men. We're all family, somehow, some way, we're all related.
With no real knowledge of what they're going to face in this apartment, the cleaners haul all their equipment up to the 5th floor.
When you first determine that somebody's dead, it should always be a suspicious death first, and let's collect all the evidence that we can to figure out one way or another.
We are going to be wondering how this individual died and what was the overall state of this individual prior to the death. They're also going to be looking for some of the obvious components such as forced entry, if anyone else lives there, as well as when is the last time someone had heard from this individual.
So right now we're covering up the floors to avoid cross-contamination. Each floor has probably about 100 units, so there's people walking back and forth through there, so we had to close those areas. We created a safe zone, which a containment of plastic barrier.
It's a cramped, low-rent studio in a sprawling block. Victor and his team cordon off the area and suit up in full protective equipment before stepping inside.
So we saw the trail of blood. It's not pretty. It's very gruesome.
The flat's threshold is heavily contaminated.
It's definitely a lot of blood, feces, a lot of saturation.
With the amount of blood that we're seeing on the ground, I want to try to figure out what injured this person. Is there a knife somewhere?
The body has been removed and the police are investigating the death.
It almost seems like there was a struggle probably. There's things thrown away left and right. What really happened there?
Just for the fact that there's no forced entry doesn't mean that there is no foul play. We follow the evidence. It could be a roommate. It could be somebody that has an extra key for him. It could be somebody that was invited in. So by all means, this could be a homicide.
In Reading, Mark and Ben are carrying out a detailed cleanup following the discovery of a decomposed body.
That's why we need to do a full decontamination, full deep clean of this whole living space. We're going to do that throughout the whole property.
With the biohazards cleared, they turn their attention to sanitizing the rest of the property.
Final stages will be to go over it with a fine tooth comb. If you feel that maybe you could have done better, go again. The flooring has to be very well cleaned. The whole area has to be mopped. Any of the sides, kitchen, clean areas, and fog this place before we leave.
But they're beginning to doubt initial reports that the body lay undiscovered for 12 months.
We don't reckon that guy was dead for a year. No way.
I don't think so. Because normally, obviously, after just a couple of weeks, there's normally a load of flies.
Yeah.
No matter what the ventilation's like.
The lack of insect activity points to a shorter decomposition time.
Determining when someone actually did die is very, very difficult because decomposition itself is not a stepwise process.
Environmental factors can significantly influence decomposition rates.
In this scene, you can see that the flat is quite sunny, so the sun is coming in. That will warm the flat up, and that will cause the body to decompose quicker than, say, in the middle of winter when it's extremely cold.
If somebody told me that was a year, I would have some doubts. It's vital that you look for all the information you've got, because there may be no easy way to determine it. Knowing that the first unopened letter was from months ago, that's important information, which gives a pointer to a timescale.
As well as physical evidence, investigators consider personal circumstances.
It is suspected that this victim has been lying there for months, which to me suggests that he was clearly quite socially isolated, probably quite withdrawn. And it's actually quite sad to think that he's had possibly no human contact for such a long period of time.
This is a very difficult case to solve forensically, so you would then be focusing on anyone who's had connections with that man before he died, piecing it back.
Robert was my eldest brother. He would spend an awful lot of time on his own and actually seek out solitude. He'd always been a bit of a troubled child in the sense that there were episodes of sadness, anger, aggression. He was diagnosed with bipolar depression. He ended up in a mental health hospital for an episode of manic depression.
The coroner will examine all the evidence to determine the cause of death.
Today went really well. It was exactly how we wanted it to go, by getting all done and in time that we needed to, and it's like it never happened.
Okay, las garras. Papel, prefiero papel, boss.
In a dangerous part of downtown LA, Victor Robles and the 911 BioClean team are clearing the remains of a body from a cramped studio flat.
There's a lot of things thrown everywhere. It was very disorganized.
There are some things that are suspicious, and so for them to categorize it as a suspicious death makes a lot of sense right off the bat.
You start drawing a picture of what happened there, right?
The dead man's contaminated belongings are cleared, so the team can tackle the blood and body fluids on the floor.
El blanco no está en blanco. Hay dos puntos de rollo blanco.
So the very tight spaces, when you have 4 guys wearing hazmat suits, and it makes things a little bit more complex and more challenging.
This body was found near the front door. It could be due to the individual trying to get help, or someone could have opened the door and forced their way in.
We use atomic degreaser that helps us dissolve it and break the blood apart.
After an hour of mopping up surface fluids, Victor needs to take this clean to the next level.
We gotta remove the flooring. Blood saturation has seeped underneath the baseboard and possibly underneath the flooring. We're in for a big job.
But ripping up flooring in a confined space in full PPE is hard physical work.
It's a very small unit. It's very hot in those suits. They don't have any airflow. So you're sweating. You're literally soaked wet in sweat.
Finally, after 3 hours of hard graft, the area of contaminated flooring is removed.
We remove the laminate flooring. When the blood travel, it's saturated in this area here, compromising the plywood underneath. We tested those areas. and there is no more biohazards, no more pathogens, anything that we should be concerned about.
Victor wraps up the job by using a powerful air purifier to clean any harmful particles.
Everybody always compliments us about how we look with them. We look like Ghostbusters. It was a project that was very meticulous, given the limited space. We're happy we're able to get this done and able to get this place back and safe.